Hello there, this is Dr. Samurai, a professor in Japan specializing in international social pathology. And the topic of my minute lecture today is Mr. Xi Jinping. As you all know, he is the president of People's Republic of China today. He was born in 1953. Okay? He has two sisters. After the establishment of People's Republic of China, his father became the manager of public affairs for the Communist Party and then the vice chairman of National Committee. And he keep holding such a high level positions on and on and on successfully. However, suddenly in 1962, Xi's father was, because of a sudden Mao Zedong's political purge, Xi also was sent to a rural village in order to work there with the local people, and he was welcomed there. And as with all the other local people, he was living in a living space made out of a cave-like space, and he has to pick up water every day from a well and eat rice soup as all the rest of the local people do. She entered chemical engineering department at Shanghai University as a worker, peasant, soldier student, like a student and soldier, two roles he had to play. And he entered there through administration office, not taking official tests. And during all these years, Xu kept trying to become Communist Party member, and he kept sending his applications over and over again. However, because of his father's past, which was a political purge, all his applications were declined. In 1974, Xi was for the first time approved of becoming a member of Communist Party, and he started out to be an assistant to People's Liberation Army assistant. Okay? Then he played a role of a secretary of the Communist Party at that local state. In 1985, he became a mayor of one of the local city. From there, he successfully held a mayor's position. However, all his proposals were declined and rejected by senior members of the Communist Party. In 1987, Xi became the commissioner of the Communist Party over one whole area. He became a small boss there, okay? And he succeeded in building a major street, major highway between that local area and big cities. In 1998 through 2000, he became the commissioner of Fujian province. He invited a lot of investment from abroad, and again he became successful in building a historical aorta construction for automobiles. Such efforts of his, quiet but pinpointed, created a very high reputation for his political career, and he became, at this time there was a rumor that he is the actual governor of Fujian province, but it was rumor, but it came from his actual success. In 2003, he became a general secretary of one province, one whole province. The general secretary means the highest position in terms of political power in that local area. And during his incumbency, that province had its industry quadrupled, and also he greatly progressed research and development in that province that he served as the general secretary. In 2007, although there was some political scandals, he was appointed the leader of Communist Party at Shanghai, and he was in charge of the responsibility of the whole Shanghai city. In 2008, because of the success in Shanghai, brought Xi a unexpected big chance that he was chosen as a honorable committee member, board member of Communist Party. Here what I mean is the Communist Party over the whole China. He was appointed as an honorable board member and then became vice president of the whole Communist Party. In 2012, Xi became the general secretary of the whole Chinese Communist Party, and that means he became number one in terms of Chinese Communist Party, which monopolized the whole People's Republic of China, because there's only one party in China. And now he is, as you well know, the president of China. Okay, that his historical information is enough, and I'd like to enter into my analysis of Mr. Xi Jinping. Okay, it was when he was 9 years old. 9, when he had everything taken away and was ordered to live in a condition as bad as cave space in a rural town, because it happened due to unreasonable political purge by Mao Zedong. He became critical to the teachers at his school, and at the age of 13, he could not continue his education anymore because of his critical attitude and actions against high school teachers. Also, parallel to this, there were many soldier students suddenly raiding into Xi's own home, family home, and looted all those valuables they could find at Xi's home. And at this time, one of Xi's sisters committed suicide because of the fear and the pressure she felt from the raids. And also, listen to this. When Xi's father was taken around the town as being a criminal, his mother had to publicly announce her husband as being the enemy of the revolution in front of all those people she knew. And then, as part of the Mao Zedong's policy of going back to rural movement for 7 years, he moved and lived in cave-like space in a rural town far away from where he used to live. Several months after, he ran away to Beijing from that cave-like situation, but he was caught and taken back to that rural cave-like condition again. And all he was ordered to do was dig a sewage for the village for 7 years. Everything started when she was 9 years old. Considering this condition in which everything he was enjoying was taken away in an instant, and he literally had to live like crawling on the ground like life. It is understandable, logical, to imagine Mr. Xi develop pathological obsession with getting back to that original life he used to have with his family. Once one had all his position taken away, it is almost automatic to try to get it back at any cost. That is the situation Mr. Xi was placed at. Loving family members, wealthy finances, beautiful house building, high-level school, life of one of her beloved sisters. He lost all those things in one instance, and it was all because of the direction change by the top of the Communist Party, Mao Zedong. We can logically imagine he must have made a solid resolution that he would grab the highest power by which he could decide everything at his will, and his fate would be never subjected to whim of somebody higher in position in the Communist Party. And he also must have solid resolution to complete this mission at any cost. It was so bad psychologically for Mr. Xi to have lost everything over nothing. This kind of incident, without doubt, lead to psychological trauma, which deeply scarred Mr. Xi's heart and mind. And this is my personal imagination, but China itself has been abused by the West historically. So there was a possibility that he overlapped his own life and China's unfortunate history. He thought he had to do something for himself and for his own country at the same time, unconsciously. This is not the reason nor logic. Mr. Xi, now being at the very top of Communist Party, still must be holding the deep fear of losing what he cherishes and going back to that ground crawling level of life anymore. He must be having strong fear still inside his mind. Although he looks very gentle on surface, this childhood experience of losing everything in such suddenly must have led to his pathological obsession with the power, which has been the very engine of his actions. Seeing this history, it is highly likely that Mr. Xi does not have any uncomfortable feeling for using military power when it is necessary. And now he made a big decision in public that he will put China back to be what it was during Mao Zedong's era. And he put Mr. Mao Zedong as his own political model, who I will later tell you in more detail had zero interest in the happiness and peace of the public and the people. But now Mr. Xi put such symbol of absolute violence in history as his role model. I think this comes because he can never feel safe up until he grabs the complete hegemony over the whole world based upon the historical Sinocentrism. Now, as you see, we see such frequent confrontations and conflicts among nations, most typically between China and the United States. So, if Mr. Xi's engine is the fear that comes from his young days, he must be feeling he must win this war over the hegemony of the whole world against America. In his mind, this war has already started, and it is clear that as Mr. Xi being the highest power of CCP, Chinese Communist Party, China will get ready to fight and win this world war in the future, and that has already started. This violent vision of controlling the whole world under China comes from his psychological trauma, so it is more like part of his persona already, and not easy to get rid of it, since it happened so early and so deeply and so painful. The fear, and to avoid the future fear, is already firmly and solidly part of Mr. Xi. So, to avoid such fear in the future, he is ready to do anything. His public announcement of making Mao Zedong as China's ideal leader means he proclaimed he will do anything at any cost until he grabs the power that will never be subjected to any other world leader. And I would like to close this mini lesson by this. You see this novice coronavirus accident, which was man-made in China and accidentally disposed and spread all over the world, having killed innumerable number of people all over the world. This means China was already preparing what I have now told you secretly since the summer of last year. So we all must think of this novice coronavirus or COVID-19 as being a warning sign against Chinese Communist Party's future aggressive actions. This is it.